we sitting here just getting takes off.
Yeah.
This year is get me 8 wins, Billy. You know, keep the 9 wins. Give me that. And I think his tenure is going to be fine here because I think Lagway is a career saving or career making type of quarterback. So I think Billy just needs to stay afloat, keep the fans cool at bay this year, and I think we have the talent to do that. But when Lagway gets here, it's on and popping.
Yeah, no, I think if Florida doesn't get to the 8 win, and I think that's going to be challenging, right? But it doesn't get any easier in 2024 either, especially with the concept of Texas and Oklahoma, coming to the swamp in that 2024 season. We can talk a little bit more about scheduling here in a second, but this is a tough year going to Utah, playing on a Thursday. Is certainly not, as easy as playing Eastern Michigan, right? Florida State obviously is a talented team. Florida could have beat them last year, but still, another tough.
Don't forget your new rival Vanderbilt.
Yeah, I mean, but even still, I know Nick's getting some jokes off, but South Carolina is not going to be terrible. I think Kentucky might be down a little bit, but regardless, whatever it is, Florida does need to put together, an 8-9 win season next year. If Florida falls to 6 and 7 again, that would be 3 straight under 500 seasons. It's not a great look. It's going to be tough to keep talent, and with the opportunity to transfer and with NIL, popping at other schools, then you have to worry about keeping your talent at bay. But getting somebody like DJ Lagway is only going to help Florida, continue to build. But they got to figure out a way to get to 8 wins this season at a minimum.
I think 8 wins is a ceiling.
I don't disagree that it is a hard schedule, and Florida's lacking some talent.
I just think with a competent defense, like last year's defense in the trenches, we were so terrible. Straight down the middle. Defensive tackle, linebacker, and safety, we was just one of the worst defenses I've ever seen. I think the defensive tackle room is a lot better, and that's just going to make our defense show up to games. Yeah. Our offense averaged 32 points a game last year. A lot of those games we should have won. We couldn't stop a nosebleed. And there was just a lot of character and a lot of just locker room, new regime stuff that we pressed through. I think you should see an uptick in that whole department in year 2. And just an overall better. I think the offensive line overall is going to be better. As you can see when we lost Osiris Torrance, for whatever reason, when he sat out of the game, we couldn't run the ball last year. As good as our running game was, that same Vanderbilt game you was talking about, we could not run the ball with Osiris Torrance out of the game. Yeah. I think our overall offensive line, overall trenches on both sides of the ball are going to be so much better, and that'll get us 8 wins, man. I think we can find 8 wins on this, just from an overall team being better shit.
Yeah, I mean, this is where Florida has issues. I think that from a quarterback perspective, it'll probably be a step down, at least in an athleticism perspective. If we're able to figure out a way to get those, short swing passes, short balls out. Hopefully, there's an opportunity there. I don't think that Florida will see an improvement in quarterback this year from last season, right? I mean, just calling a spade. I think running backs could be better. I think offensive line, like you said, Silk, could potentially be better. Certainly saying that they're going to be better missing an All-American is probably a tough position to have. But I think overall they do have some talent there. Tight end almost has to be better, right? Wide receiver, less proven talent. We'll see what happens there. But defense, you do lose Ventrell Miller. You lose Amari Burney. You lose Gervon Dexter, right? So you have to figure out replacements there. I don't know if Florida will improve there, but I think from a schematic perspective.
Absolutely at defensive tackle. You lose Gervon Dexter, but what do you have after him? Right? Our defensive tackle room definitely upgraded. I know you can't replace who he is, but from a depth standpoint, we definitely upgraded in the trenches, man. We got 3 or 4 guys that we could roll out and not have Desmond Watson who's out there exhausted and overweight.
I agree that there is a talent. There is probably more collective talent, but still from a production perspective, we haven't seen it yet, right? So I'm not saying that they can't, right? But I'm just thinking, big picture of where, Florida lost people going into this season, that there's still some pretty big holes to fill there. Could those guys that transferred in from Memphis and Louisville, et cetera, come in and do better? Absolutely. But there's still some holes to fill, when you start to think
I
of
don't see no holes to be filled from that team last year, that defense last year. I'm just going to keep it a beam with you. I know we losing Ventrell, shot to him, loved him. You know what I'm saying? But that defense is the worst. The same thing with wide receiver. I don't like. There's overall that room is absolutely better. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't see, especially with Pearsall coming back, was a huge get. But from an overall standpoint of players being able to separate, that room is just absolutely better. But defensive tackle, like defense altogether, I don't know a whole lot of things that I'm gonna be like, oh man, we gotta replace this on defense or that on defense. I think everything we lost is replaceable in one form or another. I think we just had to improve the overall depth of every position on the defense and also the top talent. Safety is still a position and star position, the only positions that I'm really concerned about.
Don't be concerned. Jaden Hill's there. Don't be concerned.
Jaden Hill's on transfer watch, man. Him and Weston. Anytime when players start switching positions and moving around, at this point in their career, the next move is probably the portal. So it's just one to watch out for. No slight to either one of them.
Yep.
But when you start moving around late in this career, and we're talking about freshman receivers, we haven't seen anybody play the star positions correctly since Chauncey Gardner left, right?
Yep.
Who just signed a new 1-year, $8 million deal with the Detroit Lions?
Safety's a spot. If we're talking about linebacker and replacing those guys, safety's a spot where, and I know, very aware of everyone's feelings on Rashad Torrance and Trey Dean. Acutely aware of how y'all feel about them. I have a huge concern that safety room. Yeah, I know Kamari Wilson was a high 4-star, and Silk was the first one on the Miguel Mitchell bandwagon. You just have no experience there,
right?
And Florida will be looking for a safety in the transfer portal when it opens back up, and guys enter in May. Know that for a fact. They're going to be looking for more depth and experience, probably mostly experience in that safety room.
So I think Florida in the transfer portal, let's pontificate here. In the transfer portal, Florida's probably going to go for an additional help at quarterback, right? I think that we're all pretty much on that page. Florida's going to go for some help at safety. I could see Florida trying to get some additional proven help at linebacker. And then tight end. Those are probably my 4 position groups that I see Florida going after in the transfer portal, unless they're able to get another potential starter on the defensive line. But are those probably the 4 main ones that you're thinking of?
Tight end, they're gonna need some exits, I think, because I was surprised they didn't go out there any tight ends. Yeah. They got a lot of dudes in that room, and I was surprised they didn't go out there in the portal this past portal season. So I think they would probably have to need to see some exits in the tight end room. Would love to see some people get recruited and we go after some guys in that spot, but we need some exits in that room. You're on point with every other thing, but I think tight end gonna need some exits.